Hey friends, today we are going to create an amazing scene in Blender. We're going to create an environment and texture it. Without wasting time, let's get started. As we know, we need a swing for the scene where the character will be set. So, let's start making the swing. First, add a cube, then add a loop cut in the middle of the cube and delete one side of the cube. Next, add a mirror modifier. Then, add another loop cut like this and delete the area in that way. Now, begin making the frame of the model. Make the model in this way, and don't add too much topology or it will mess up your workflow. Add a bevel modifier and set it as you want. Alright, if you want to set the origin for an object in Blender, here's what you need to do. Select the object, go to the object menu, choose a set origin, select origin to 3D cursor, and if you find that the 3D cursor isn't in the right spot, you can move it by just left-clicking in the 3D viewport. Then, you can follow these same steps to set the origin to the new position of the 3D cursor. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. To create a rope, we'll start by adding a curve or adding thickness. A rope needs thickness, right? To give the curve some depth, look for the geometry section in the curve properties. You can increase the depth value to make it thicker, making it look more like a rope. Now, you'll see a curve in your workspace. Use the pencil icon to draw the rope instead of the default curve. This is where you can shape your rope by manipulating control points. Move them around until you're satisfied with the shape. You can adjust the resolution settings in the same properties panel. This will control how detailed and smooth your rope looks. Select the object you want to change the origin for. Go to the object menu at the top. Choose Set Origin from the drop-down. Pick the Origin to 3D cursor option. If the 3D cursor is not where you want the origin, you can place it where you want first by left-clicking in the 3D view. That's it, your object's origin is now in the position you wanted. It's useful for rotating and scaling around a specific point. so that you can keep track of what will happen. In other cases, you may know what will happen. It is now the time to create the floor. Start by adding the floor and shaping it to be a little bumpy and shapely. Once you achieve the desired look, you can move on to creating vegetation. First, let's create some grass and rocks. Wait, rocks anyway. Let's begin making the grass by adding a plane. Give the plane a grassy look and don't forget to add your unique touch. Great, let's add some solidify modifiers to give our object some depth. We're going to create some rock. We'll start by adding an ecosphere and stretching it to give it a more natural appearance. Once we have our rocks, we can scatter them along with grass throughout our scene to really bring it to life. So press 0 to go into camera view. Then set the grass so it will look as you want. Don't try to make the scene the same as I said at your taste. That looks good to me. In order to add emission cubes, there are two ways to do it. The first option is to use by general. Alternatively, you can add the cubes manually by placing them in different locations. Make sure to select an individual option for each cube, so that each object will react differently in its designated area. Once you have created the cubes, select them and combine them together to complete the process. The first step is to make the objects look more attractive by giving them a new texture and enabling emission. You can choose the color that you prefer, but it's important to ensure that the color contrast is appropriate. Once you have done this, add an animation to your scene to enhance its visual appeal. When you play the animation, it should look really nice. To animate your object, follow these simple steps. First, select the object you want to animate. Then, go to the timeline and increase the timeline length. Make sure you have selected the object and turn on the animation icon. Next, press the R key to activate the rotation tool. Press R again to enable the rotation animation. This will allow you to make your object move and rotate smoothly. With these steps, you can create impressive animations quickly and easily. To move your point to the center of the mesh, follow these steps to go into edit mode and select all the points. Then, press Shift and S keys together to switch the cursor to selected. Now, navigate to the Object tab and set Origin to 3D Cursor. This will place your point in the middle of the mesh. To ensure that your animation runs smoothly, it's important to make sure it's linear. You can do this by selecting a linear in the graph editor. Once you've done this, select all of the keyframes in the graph editor by pressing that. To make the animation even smoother, press Alt-O a few times. Finally, if the animation fits well with the scene, you can leave it as it is. In order to move an animated object in Blender, you need to use delta transformations. The icon for delta transformations will help you move the animated objects to the desired location. If you don't use delta transformations, you won't be able to move the animated objects. Overall, it's an impressive feature in Blender. So, now the scene is kind of ready. Now, it's time to texture them. If you've already watched my texturing video, you may know how I make the textures for my models. This is the node setup for grass and rocks. And this is for the base texture. And this is for dirt detail. This is about creating artificial shadows. Here's a clearer way to mix them. Make sure that the mixed color is multiplied. It's now time to place our emission cubes in the scene to enhance its appeal. For the background, I used a plain image and adjusted its brightness. I set the colors by adjusting the saturation and added the blur effect to enhance its appearance while also making sure that the background does not become too noticeable. This setup is meant for the floor. This is about creating artificial shadows. Here's a clearer way to mix them. Make sure that the mixed color is multiplied, and this is for the base texture. Creating artificial shadows. And this is for dirt detail. This setup is only for the swing. This is about creating artificial shadows. Here's a clearer way to mix them. Make sure that the mixed color is multiplied, and this is for the base texture. Creating artificial shadows. And this is for dirt detail. This is about creating artificial shadows. Great job. Now all you need to do is place your main model and add some animations to make it look nice. Once you do that, your scene will be complete. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I'll be happy to answer them. I love reading your comments, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Additionally, for updates and plans on my current game, you can find them on my Patreon page. So good luck!